yeah, by the time this interview is out, Learn to Swim is going to be out. So congratulations on that release. How has that been kind of building up to it and having it out?
Thank you. Yeah, it feels really special. It feels funny too because we had our kind of a premiere also at TIFF last year, and so to have this other premiere feels like a kind of a wonderful bonus. You know what I mean? Like you do these films and you hope that it gets seen, and then it starts getting all these openings. So it's kind of shocking. It's great. It's great.
No, I mean, what was it like kind of being shown at TIFF? I mean, I know it was a while ago, but how was that for you?
Yeah, it was both kind of wonderful, you know, on a collective level to see all of our work kind of coming to fruition on you know, individually to see myself on screen for, you know, an hour and a half is a little nauseating. I can't lie. Just like but yeah, really wonderful to see the film in its entirety kind of come together and get shown to the community. Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't heard of it yet, could you tell them a little bit about what it is and what it's about?
Yeah, sure. Learn to Swim centers around Desi, who is a Toronto-based musician who experiences I'll say a tragic event in his past, and for which he blames himself. And he, in present day, tries to evade and avoid that past. And the more he tries to do so, the more the past comes to revisit him, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it works.
Yeah,
But
that's what, yeah.
yeah, you played Desi in this. What was that like kind of bringing this character to life?
It was fun actually. He's very introspective, very, very guarded, um and you know, he's ironically, even though he's the protagonist of the story, he's an odd one to it's an odd role because he's kind of the anti-action of the story, whereas normally a lead character is kind of what brings an audience to the next scene and the next scene and the next scene. Desi is almost the opposite. If he had his own way, there would be no film. It's really those around him that push him into the next scene. So it was cool. For me, I don't much think about character, to be honest. I think more about scenario and the text, because I think ultimately that's what the audience connects to the most is actually the scenario and less about how much an actor is inhabiting another person. So I keep it pretty practical and just kind of follow the indicators in the text and do what I can to give the director what they're looking for. Yeah.
You just do your job and then you're
I
done.
just do it. I just do it and then I go home. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it works.
Yeah,
But
thanks.
talking about the audience, what do you hope that they take from this?
Okay, see, I'm so weird about these things. Like for me as an actor, again, I do actually think that the audience takes what they will from it. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's we try, at least I try to tell the story to the best of my ability, and then you know, and collaborate with my colleagues, and try to make an offering to the audience, and then knowing full well that the audience is fully capable of deriving whatever meaning they want from it. I never kind of say, I want you to take this away from it. You kind of hope that an audience connects, and that connection again can be in them liking something, but their connection can also be in not liking it. You know what I mean? And either way, that's a connection of a kind. And you just hope that they're not. One hopes that the audience isn't apathetic to it. You hope that it's like you hope it's not a non-event.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. It completely makes sense. But
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. You're good.
Cool.
Talking more about your time on set, do you have a favorite memory from filming?
Oh man, there was a scene where the whole was it the whole, yeah, most of the cast was at Desi's apartment for a rehearsal, a music rehearsal. And I think that was the first, I feel like that was the first time we were all together in the same space. Because it was also during COVID time, so everything was very separate. And so yeah, it was one of the first real collective moments we were able to have on set, and I remember that being really special, and be able to see everyone play their instruments for the first time too. It's like I've been practicing in my own little bubble, and that actor's been doing their practice over there, and so to kind of see the work, we didn't do any rehearsals for the music or anything, so to see all
Really?
of it come, no, so to see all of it come together on the day was pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, were you a musician before this movie, or was there training for that?
There was training for it. I respect music too much to say that I'm a musician.
Okay.
Yeah, but I did do a bit of alto and tenor sax in high school. Um, yeah, very, 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 not seriously. And so I did have a coach. His name is Yves Charouest, who's a Montreal-based saxophonist, and he taught me again like the basics of the instrument and what the life of a musician is a bit, the kind of the very basics of what that life would be, and also just the kind of do's and don'ts of the saxophone, like things that actors might think saxophonists do but
Okay.
actually don't. And so he's like, just make sure you never do this. Just whatever you do, don't do that.
I mean, did you take anything from that experience? Is it like drilled in your head now?
Totally, totally. Yeah. I mean, again, there's I don't know how to say it in English. There's like an interior quality that like the musician is dialoguing with the music. And again, they trust that the audience is receiving the music. There's not this demonstrative, some musicians are like that. They are very emotive with their movement. A
Mhm.
lot of musicians are actually quite still. You know what I mean? They're in the music, and they're not busying themselves trying to perform for the audience some notion of music. They know that the audience will receive it. So he was like, don't do the whole actor thing, where, and I was like, okay, I promise you I'll try to
I'll just
not
stand
disappoint
still.
you. Yeah, just not move anything. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it worked for you because your role in this film actually got you a nomination for the 2022 Canadian Screen Awards for Best
Yeah.
Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role. What's that
Yeah.
like?
That's that's anxiety inducing, to be honest. That's like, I remember kind of on the morning of the announcements, they happened so early, and I'm kind of a night owl, so
So
I
you were
was kind
still
of
waking
in
up.
bed. I was asleep, basically. I was basically asleep, but I was kind of like, I had the covers over my face, so just kind of, and I had the computer just on the little like the bedside table. And I just hit refresh again and again, and then wait for the announcements to happen. And then when I saw it, it was, I mean, it was great, but it made me very anxious, because I think again, like so much of this life is as an actor is actually not what a lot of people see. It's very quiet. It's very solitary. There's a there's there's a lot of dialoguing with yourself, and trying to get a job. You're applying for jobs like 4 or 5 times a week. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden someone gives you a job, and then you see it on screen, and then someone is nominating you for something. It's a different extreme in the experience of being an actor, and for me it's still something I'm kind of getting used to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, for
On the real.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
just in the case you win, have you thought of an acceptance speech?
I I've thought about it. I've just tried to like think about not forgetting anybody to thank, because as far as I've gotten, to be quite honest. And if I can basically accomplish that. I think they said you have like 30 seconds or something like that. So if I can not forget anybody and like not, you know, and just like keep it together and breathe, that'll be good with me. Yeah.
That'll be the
Yeah.
goal. I mean,
Oh yeah.
have you started planning for the event? I mean, it's in April, it's coming up. What's going through your mind right now?
Yeah, I'm like there's of course a little part of my brain that is a little bit of real estate in my brain right now that is designated for this moment that's coming, but I'm trying not to give it too much sway because you don't know what's going to happen, and
Yeah.
I think it's important to not let it be too definitive. In any case, whether you win or lose, I think it's important not for it not to become definitive, because at the end of the day, I'm not an actor for these moments anyway. But there is a part of me that is like waiting to see what it is without it, you know, without making too much of a meal of it. But I am, of course, like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna
Okay,
happen?
you deserve it. You've worked for it.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
But speaking of you and your career, you are absolutely killing it. What's something that you would want to tell your younger self, knowing everything you know now?
That's interesting. I mean, like, when I think of my younger self, and even when I think of like just in general, like younger people, like young people, I feel like, and maybe people in general, again, I feel like most people again don't really need advice. I feel most people when someone's asking for advice, or I feel like it's less that they don't know what to do and they're asking you what I should do, and they're more asking, I know what I want to do, but I don't know if I can give myself permission to follow it. And so most people are asking for permission, they're not actually asking for advice. I feel like that's very true for young people too. I feel like young people, and when I look back at my younger self, I always kind of had a sense of where I wanted to go and where my curiosities were leading me. I just didn't think I was allowed. Um, but most of the time, when I would find my way as a younger person, is when someone older than me just listened and didn't give me advice. They just sat and listened to me try to make sense of my own story. And so, what I would like to do with my younger self is just kind of ask him a question and hear what he would have to say about a lot of things, rather than kind of advise him on what to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you just sit there and listen.
Yeah, I do think that there's a transformative kind of ingredient in being witnessed. And I think that's what the power of storytelling is you sit down and you get told a story that you connect with, and you feel somehow like your experience through watching someone else's experience is being validated. And I think that has like more transformative possibility than a lot of us think. Most of us just need to be heard, I feel less.
Yeah,
It's true.
for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that makes sense. But my last question for you, do you have any future projects or plans that you could hint at or talk about?
I just did a role and shot it in New Orleans. It's a TV show called Interview with the Vampire. It's with AMC. That's coming up later this year. And I'm doing a couple of short films that are kind of in development. And otherwise, it's open road. It's back into the unknown.
I mean,
Back
that's
into
okay.
I mean, it's the nature of the beast. And again, it's that dichotomy again of like hyper movement in one end and then like hyper stillness. So a part of it is, yeah, there are some great things coming up, like Interview with the Vampire, and then there are other things that are still unknown. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make sure to look out for all your future projects.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, but it was great talking to you and great meeting you. Have a
You
great
too.
rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.